Hello children, the next example is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is a genetic disorder by variant form of hemoglobin in RBC. What is RBC? RBC is red blood corpuscles which carries oxygen. What's its function? It carries oxygen and it provides oxygen to the necessary cells. It is a component found in the blood and it carries oxygen and it distributes the oxygen to the required cells and tissues. That's the function of RBC. What is the shape of the RBC? The shape of the RBC is, it is very minute, biconcave disc-like. This shape is attained by, it's controlled by two genes, that is HBA and HBA. That is homozygous condition to get this type of RBC. The normal RBC is HBA and HBA. This is homozygous. Heterozygous is HBA and HBS. But the recessive forms, there is one mutant recessive form is also there, that is HBS and HBS. The homozygous recessive ones, the people, the person who is carrying the homozygous recessive allele for hemoglobin, that is HBS, HBS, he is getting a sickle shaped RBCs. This sickle shaped RBC cannot take enough oxygen. So the person cannot live for a long time. He will die in his early age itself. So sickle cell anemia is a genetical disorder by variant form of hemoglobin in RBC. The person who is having sickle cell, that is the recessive cells, HBS, HBS may die early in the early age itself. Because the cells are unable to bind oxygen effectively. But the heterozygous form HBA and HBS, it is accepted by the nature. Even though half of these cells, it is the carrier which is accepted by the nature. Because this HBA and HBS genotype can survive well in the area which is affected by malaria. It kills malarial parasite. How means the malarial parasite, it lives first, the malarial parasite, it lives in the RBC. First in liver cells and then it comes to the RBC. In RBC, it's a life cycle, it grows in the RBC. So when the RBC size is like this, they cannot complete their life cycle within the RBC. So they will die. So the person who is the carrier of this sickle cell anemic gene, who is having the heterozygous form, that is HBA and HBS, he is naturally selected. Nature has selected those people because they are resistant to malaria. Kills malarial parasite, heterozygous, able to cope up with the malaria than the normal person. They can cope up because with malaria. Here these people, there's a normal RBC is there. So if it is normal RBC, easily they can accommodate inside the RBC and rupture the RBC and they can complete its life cycle. But here they cannot complete its life. The malarial parasites, plasmodium cannot complete its life cycle in the sickle cells. So they will die. So nature selected these resistant genotype, able to cope up with the malaria, that is the heterozygous forms can cope up with the malaria than the normal person. Natural selection thus maintain both the normal as well as the variant form of hemoglobin, that is HBA and HBA can survive well. At the same time HBA and HBS can survive well. But in the malaria causing area, if a particular part of the world or particular part of the country is getting malaria, means these people, those who are having the carrier of a resistant gene, sickle, that is the heterozygous forms, survive better than that of the normal one. Survive better than that of the normal one. That's why in the text it's given like that. Sickle cell anemia is a genetic disorder caused by the variant form of hemoglobin in red blood cells. Individuals homozygous for this disorder die at an early stage. In a heterozygous also, the red blood cells with the variant form of hemoglobin become sickle shape and were unable to bind oxygen effectively. Even then, the natural selection could not eliminate the abnormal allele from the population. This variant is often found in tropical Africa where malaria is common. Since sickle cell RBC effectively kill the malarial parasite, the individuals heterozygous for this variant are able to cope up with the malarial infection much better than the normal person. The natural selection thus maintained this variant form of a hemoglobin along with the normal hemoglobin in malaria prone areas. Yeah. The next example is resistance of microbes to antibiotics. The next example is resistance of microbes to antibiotics. What are antibiotics? Antibiotics are chemicals. Antibiotics are chemicals produced from the microorganisms to kill or weaken the other microbes. Antibiotics are chemicals produced from the other microorganism to kill or weaken the other microbes. So this antibiotics resistance is developed by some microbes. These organisms are selected by the nature. These organisms are selected by the nature. That is what is called resistance of microbes to antibiotics. Antibiotic resistance is the ability of the microorganism to withstand the effect of an antibiotics. So the antibiotics actually its function is to kill the microbes or the chemicals produced, it detoxify the chemicals produced by other microbes. Certain microorganisms, when continuously these antibiotics are given, they got resistance against those antibiotics. So antibiotic resistance is the ability of the microorganism to withstand the effect of an antibiotic. It is a specific type of drug resistance. It is evolved naturally by natural selection, by random mutation. That is also a natural selection. How the natural selection occur? These organism microbes are getting mutation and the mutant genes are accepted and it is selected by the nature and they survive better in the environment. Without better in the environment because they got the resistance to the antibiotics. Next, so these are the examples of natural selection. Few examples you studied and I will need to give you one definition, that is a speciation. Proper definition you must know in evolution. That is what is speciation you know already. Still you must know the definition of a speciation. Origin of new species, speciation, isn't it? Speciation is the definition you must know clearly. Speciation is a process by which new species are formed. New species are formed in a speciation and a species may be defined as the interbreeding population. If you want to consider a group of organisms coming under a same species, these organisms must interbreed among one another. They must interbreed among one another. So speciation is a process by which new species are formed. A species may be defined as an interbreeding population which is reproductively isolated from other similar but morphologically distinguishable population. A species must interbreed among one another, but morphologically similar organisms would be there. They may show some other difference. With them, they should not breed. There must be a isolation between these two organisms. So the species may be defined as an interbreeding population which is reproductively isolated from other similar but morphologically distinguishable population. But among the species they must interbreed, then it is considered as a species.